of architecture we can see. As I say, it's been bought by a developer and he is going to turn it into townhouses. You can imagine what it will be like if you had a house there. This whole frontage, I have no doubt, will be landscaped as well. As we come further in here, we're coming in towards the centre of the city, and very shortly, it is the only church in Scotland today to run 2 full-time schools. It has a music school and a choir school. You'll also find, folks, that James Craig, when he designed this new town, designed what's called a grid of England. You'll find the main street in the new town is called George Street, built and named after George III. Princess Street after his 2 sons. Queen Street after his wife, the left and his son. Dirt underground. At one time, of course, it would have been the done thing to sandblast and acid clean these buildings, but we've now distinct South Charlotte Street in the city of Edinburgh. On this way, follow these cars right in front of them. You'll find, folks, that Graham yellow to let sign is on the wall. Well, the door right beneath that is the entrance into his house, where the gentleman's standing just now. You can see the plaque on the wall. We're going to swing off to our left and go round Charlotte Square. We're actually trying to persuade British Telecom to give us £1 million to restore the house and open it up as a museum to the memory of Graham Bell. As we come along to the end of this square, on your left hand side again, under the centre window, you'll find a plaque that tells you this house was the birthplace of Douglas Haig, leader of the British Expeditionary Forces during the 1914-18 war. Now we can see it on our left hand side just now, but we're going to swing round here and head across to what's known as the north side of the square, folks, which is the finest side of Charlotte Square. And if you look to your right front just now, you can see the lovely uniform facade of this frontage here. The building is 200 feet long. It's like the front of a palace block, yet there's 11 houses here. The nice half-rounded windows above each doorway, you have the individual families. And we'll just tuck ourselves in behind this blue van for a second or two, and I'll tell you what you're looking at just now. Quarters, rusticated or table ashlar. The chocolate block effect in the middle is called drove ashlar. The top finished off in polished ashlar. All these railings and lampstanders here were the work of Thomas Haddon. And he done a huge amount of architectural wrought iron work, not just in front of houses, but also in... What I want you to do when we get in there is look to your right hand side. You'll see a building that's recently been restored. And it gives you a good idea of what Edinburgh's new town would have looked like when it was built originally. And I'm talking Princess Street, Queen Street and George Street. Because there has been a lot of damage done to the new town before the conservation societies have managed to get a watertight grip. Now you see the buildings with the flags away across there to your right. That building, as I say, has been restored. So the new town should be that colour. There should also, you can see the to let sign. Number 32 was the birthplace of Kenneth Graham, author of Wind in the Willows. If we stay on the right hand side, there we can see the Freemasons' Hall, the Grand Lodge of Scotland, above the entrance of patron saint, St Andrew. Freemasonry, of course, founded in this country in the 15th century to the Kingdom of Fife. Edinburgh, like Rome, is built on 7 hills. It doesn't matter where you are in the city, you get some beautiful views up onto the skyline or down onto the city skyline. And we'll see that a little later on this morning. As we continue along here, over to your right, now you can see the Assembly Halls, the building with all the flags in front of it. This is where the dances and assemblies used to take place, right in the centre of the city. As we come down here, folks, we're coming down to face the city's 2 main art galleries. There we can see in front of us the Royal Scottish Academy. Inside that, so that's the Royal Scottish Academy, folks, on our left hand side. And then just behind it, you'll find Scotland's National Gallery. Now in the National Gallery, ladies and gents, you'll find paintings and portraits by many of the old European masters, people like Smegolini, Domenichini, Van Gogh, Rembrandt, Rubens and Renoir. And admission to both these buildings, by the way, is absolutely free. In fact, all of the museums and galleries in Edinburgh are open. Admission to them all is free. You can spend a whole week here. You never have to put your hand in your pocket. You can visit all these places absolutely free. The top of the hill, just to the front left of the coach, you will find what's known as the Black Watch Memorial. This is to the men and officers of the Black Watch Regiment who lost their lives during the South African campaigns. There we can see it just on the corner there. We are going straight up, following this road, right up to the traffic lights. And as we come up to the top of the hill here, folks, you're going to pass a pub called Deacon Brodie's Tavern. Now, Deacon Brodie was a very famous man in Edinburgh. He was a deacon convener of trades, and he was a town councillor. His own trade was locksmith. If he ever came to fix your lock, he always made 2 keys. You'd receive one, and he would keep one. And during the hours of darkness, he would come and relieve you of most of your belongings. I was spotted one night breaking in forward to that book. He tells you he based it on Deacon Brodie. Respected by day, feared by night, a man with a split personality. So we're going down here, folks, and we're going right down to the bottom, round the one-way system, then we'll come back up and visit the castle. And I'm bringing you down here, folks, because I want to show you the statue. You see that coach coming out in front of us? Now, just where the coach is, you'll find to your right-hand side a statue of Greyfriars Bobby. It's a Skye Terrier, belonged to a man called John Grey. And when John Grey died, this little dog lay on top of his grave for 14 years, summer and winter, leaving only once each day to visit Mr. Trail's coffee shop to be fed. Now you can see it there in the railings. There's the statue of the little dog there. Now, as I say, he came to Mr. Trail's coffee shop every day at 12 o'clock. He was given the scraps off the table, and then he was arrested by the police, folks, believe it or not, because he had no licence and no collar. And a man called William Chambers, Lord Provost of the city, bought a collar and a licence for the dog, which is now on permanent display in one of the museums. And then, of course, later in life, Walt Disney made a very nice film of the dog's life. You may have seen in cinemas and television screens. The statue you've just seen was presented to us by a lady called Baronet Bunders Coots. Is the McEwen Hall. This is where the graduation ceremonies take place. The work of the architect, Rowan Danderson. And then we swing back round again to our right. This lovely building left of us, the medical faculty of the university. Edinburgh is a very, very important city today, still in the medical field. And you'll find there are students here whose fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers studied medicine at Edinburgh University, and they are carrying on the family was carrying on. As we come round here, we'll come past the statue of the dog again. This time you will be on your left-hand side, folks. It's a very important lorry there. It's a very important lorry because it's delivering the beer. Very important on a hot night that you have some liquid to keep you hydrated. You don't want to get dehydrated. And then just across to your right, the modern building you can see, folks, and that is a new addition to the Royal Museum of Scotland. This is called the Scottish Room, and all the history pertaining to Scotland is in that one section here. The Royal Museum of Scotland, again, a wonderful place to visit. Admission to it absolutely free. There's the statue of the little dog on our left-hand side there as we head back up the roadway towards Edinburgh's castle. See it down there on our left-hand side. A lovely old building to your left is the old Candlemaker's Hall, built originally in the 1500s, and it was for the incorporation of candlemakers. If you weren't a member of that incorporation, then you couldn't sell your books from the streets. As we come up here, again to your left, we'll pass the city's central lending line, gifted to us by the Andrew Carnegie Trust. You can always tell a Carnegie Trust library by looking above the entrance. You'll find the motto, Library Building. You see that on any library, and it was gifted by the Carnegie Trust. Now when we get to the traffic lights, ladies and gents, we are going to turn left and we are heading up now. This is where they used to have them, just here. As you can see, folks, it's not the easiest place to get in and out of. There is the oldest street in Edinburgh in front of you. It is called Castle Hill, and you went up there last night as you went into the statue. It is the only way in and out of Edinburgh Castle. And of course, in the old days, it was very easy to defend the castle because you could see your enemy long before they had a chance to reach you, which would give you a chance to close the 7 gates we had here inside Edinburgh. Now when we get up to the castle, folks, we'll get to park on the Esplanade, and then once you're off the coach will then be taken off the Esplanade, and Paul will have to come down to Johnson Terrace, we can see just in front of us there, and he'll park there. Then he'll come back up and collect us. Now when I give you a time to come back to the coach, you have to be back at the coach at that time, because Paul will only get a chance to wait handicap, otherwise I'd have to walk you down to the coach, and it's just too much of a hassle to try and gather 40 odd people. It's too difficult to take 40 odd people from here and walk them all the way down Johnson Terrace. It's a bit of a nonsense. So I just say that one of you, we've got somebody that's handicapped, the coach therefore has to get back. Okay? You get a lovely view of the Foot of Forth from here. There are 6 islands in the river, and in the back. Now, in a second or two, you enter the castle proper. There is the 7th and final gate called Food Gate. The holes in the wall there were used to pour hot coal, hot oil, and anything at all into it. There's one. There you get shot. This is where the tilt was over here. Back against the wall. Yep. So we should be like 1066 in Norman Conquest. Now, a lady called Princess Margaret was trying to flee from the north of England to Hungary. She boarded a ship. When the ship reached the North Sea, a great storm blew the ship. One of these little anomalies. The lobster in there, huge piece of sandstone.
Sir, with your musket up in the rigging, you will receive $100 Yankee. Citing that, sir. You, sir, if you board that vessel. You're frightening, mate. He's not being shot, has he? Come on, let's get this. That's pretty strange, really. Because we don't want to be blowing out the water, essentially. And when you float the jack, you need a jack to replace that. There are 300 of them and 25 of us. Right. Well, just place these down here. Place those down there, so I'll take them back over here and get this gentleman the sunglasses. I'll tell you what we're going to do. You've heard of the Mexican wave, haven't you? You've got those in your hand.
tells that the gold from Bruce's simple serfdom forms part of the Scottish crown today. There is no proof that this is so, but
or Sundays.
Have a good night.
Yeah, mate, it's just brand new, expensive camera.
Blue had you want to be other side there. We're looking at it. Well, that was 11. So you never see where they did it. 276
I can hear the phone.
Good to get in there today. Oh, mate, I wouldn't like to be lying up there now.
I'm sitting, that's what I'm saying.
There is 11.5 acres of rock underneath Edinburgh's castle. And you can see, folks, that is how the building was easily defended, because you can see your enemy long before they have a chance to reach.
Must be some that didn't get on the bus, is there?
We're going to turn at the bottom. One night an old man died in Mr. Hare's hotel. Hadn't paid his bill, so they put his body onto a cart in a drink. That's all. But this whole area is absolutely mobbed with youngsters. Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights. Gives you a super view up to the castle. We're going up to the end of the roadway here, folks. Gives you a good view of what you would call typical domestic style of architecture as well, as we go through here, ladies and gents. And we're not, when we get to the mini roundabout, Paul, we're going to turn left and go along the Cowgate there. Okay? There we are, folks, we're going along the Cowgate. The cowgate, of course, takes its name from the way of the cattle. In the old days, you would bring your cattle down here to graze. Chances are, of course, if you left them unattended, since they could be stolen. However, unlike our North American friends, if somebody stole our cattle, we didn't go looking for a sheriff and raise a posse. We simply stole somebody else's. Something above you there to your left. And in a few seconds, we will make our way down what's known as the back cannon gate. And this will take us down towards Scotland's new Parliament and the Palace of Holyrood House. No, I certainly don't want it. I want to come when it's cold. I don't want to come when the sun shines, that's true. Now folks, as we go down here, on your left-hand side you will be passing by Murray House. Today, Murray House is a teacher training college. It used to belong at one time to the Marquis of Lorne. He's the eldest son of the Duke of Argyll, head of the Clan Campbell in Scotland. And in the rear of this building is a small summer house. And you get a glance at it very shortly. This is where the Treaty of Union was signed. As I say, it's a very important piece of paper because once this treaty was signed, effectively it took the Parliament away from Scotland down to Westminster, where it stayed for nearly 300 years before returning here in 1998. So take a look just to your left here. You see the iron gate, that little building with the red pan-tile roof there? That's the summer house where the Treaty of Union was signed. As I say, many Scots in the old days, of course, thought that we had been sold. So a thing that, as I say, has caused a huge amount of controversy. It is so modern against such old style buildings around it. Well, many people will agree with you dear, it's horrible. However, when they built the Sydney Opera House, they said the same thing, it was horrible.
You're right.
But it's one of the best known landmarks in the world. As soon as people see a picture of it, they know exactly what it is. And this, one day, may be the same. Yep. We're going straight across, follow the red man away in the distance there, Paul. Follow him. There you get a better view of the Parliament now. Look along there. You see it? As you say, it is a strange complex building. It is meant to be in the shape of a flower, folks. It rises from the land, that's the stem going up, and then the head is the debating chamber and the office. The Palace of Holyrood House, the Queen's official residence to your left. You see jutting out from the rear of the palace block there, that's the old abbey that was built in 1128. And this, ladies and gents, is what we call the Queen's Park. This is royal property. If Charles or William come onto the throne, this will be called the King's Park. So it always takes its name from the reigning sovereign. Look up to your right, you see the ruins of St Anthony's Chapel on the hill there to your right side. And then coming into view to your right side is St Margaret's Loch. Now this is a man-made loch used today by swans, mallard ducks, geese. Now Paul, at the end of this, looking down towards Berwick upon Tweed, looking away over to St Andrew's Bay there. People don't realise we have this 5 minutes from the centre of the city. The volcano has been extinct for more than 350 million years. The rock you see around you is what we call Carboniferous rock. And of course, folks, this is a mecca for joggers, power walkers, and cyclists. No matter which end of the park you started, you have to come up the hill sooner or later. Just across to your left is the centre of the extinct volcano, that is Dunsafula, you can see there. And there you can see the light pathway to the top of the hill. On the 1st of May each year, at 4:30 in the morning, hundreds of people climb to the top of that hill to wash their face in the morning dew. You can think of lots of better things to do at 4:30 in the morning to climb up there, but it's obviously something that dates back to pagan times. And it's a wonderful place to come. It's a wonderful place to bring your grandchildren. You'll love it up here. You can run around up and down the hill on their bikes and their skateboards and all that kind of thing. That was the cake you've been looking at, folks. The icing is just round the corner here. I think it's even nicer just as you come round the corner. And there's a little parking spot along here, Paul. I'll tell you where it is. Just keep going just now. Make sure it's empty. You see the little car that's sitting there, the next lay-by. If you go into that lay-by just coming up, just tuck us in there for a second or two. It's absolutely magnificent. and you're 5 minutes, as I say, from the centre of the city. Greylag geese, pink-footed geese, swans, monarch ducks, and more. And you'll find a lot of children here on a Saturday and a Sunday come here to feed the ducks. It's a wonderful place on a Sunday with all the kids. Stretching away out to your left-hand side, your disc golf on a municipal course will cost you £8. You don't have to book months in advance, you can book and within half an hour you'll find you get into your time, which is relatively cheap nowadays to do golf. This is Prestonfield Golf Course. You can see beneath us, this is a private course. Then as we start to swing round here, folks, you see the grass verge just in front of us. You see it coming to view now. As we come out of this little part of the roadway, you get the most magnificent view of the skyline. You look straight ahead. The first thing you'll see coming into view, sitting on top of the high volcanic rock, is Edinburgh Castle. Then you'll see the tall spire of St John's Church, the dome of the university building, the crown of lantern. Beneath you to your left-hand side is the public halls of residence belonging to Edinburgh University. And then up to your right is the Salisbury Crags and the Radical Road. Now, you can walk round the Radical Road, or you can walk on top of the crags. You can see people up there just now. What you have to be careful of, ladies and gentlemen, is you don't get too close to the edge on a windy day because you can get blown off. Now, falling is not a problem. Landing is a problem. It's easy to fall, but it is extremely difficult to land. You see these cars stretching away down in front of us, Paul? We're heading back down that road directly in front of us, and we'll come back into the old town down near the Palace building. But it'll take us right in front of the Parliament building, folks. You'll get the full Monty, as we say, onto Scotland's Parliament. So, we're going off to our left here, folks. Now you see the Parliament starts here. It rises from the ground. If you follow the line of the grass verges there, makes its way right up onto the roof, and then you have the debating chamber and the offices of the MSPs, that's members of the Scottish Parliament. You'll find the stone used in the building is Kemney granite from Aberdeenshire. The dark coloured stone you can see there, that is Belfast granite from the Belfast quarry in South Africa. We wanted to use slate, but slate is too porous, so we used Belfast granite. Inside, it is all wood. It's all oak and sycamore inside. These are bamboo, these are oak as well. But there you can see now when we get to the end, Paul, we're going up to our left, which will take us up the Royal Mile. Now we can see it now, folks. As I say, it looks probably more like an entrance to a theatre or a football stadium. But that is Scotland's Parliament building. Looking to your right at the end here, you get a lovely view onto the palace, the Queen's official residence in Scotland. That tower there is the oldest part of the palace, and that's where Mary Queen of Scots used to live. Now we're going right up the hill in front of us here, Paul. Now we are. And this is the Royal Mile we're in now, ladies and gentlemen. As I say, it takes its name because it stretches 1 mile, 106 yards from Palace up to Castle. And as we come up here, on your left-hand side, you'll be passing Queensbury House. This at one time was the home of the Marquis of Queensbury, the gentleman who introduced the rules to box. The building here dates from 1667, and it's now incorporated into Scotland's new Parliament building. That was Queensbury family's house. As we come further up on your right-hand side, that is where you'll find the collar and the license of the small dog called Great
Fishing tubes. Ah, that's fish cups.
In that particular building on your left. And this is the front of Closes and Wine. Narrow alleyways that run in between the buildings, left and right. They are all self-explanatory. They are named after famous. They don't own these bikes, by the way. They are rented to them. They don't pay a name. But it probably cost them a fair bit of money. Left to your right, folks, in between the windows, artist's impression. As you come past Knox's house, look over your right shoulder. There we can see Moses with the Ten Commandments looking at the sun. Oldest house with the window boxes. And as you can see, there's a lot of shops around here, folks. If you want to come back up to this area, it'll take you 5 minutes to walk from Waterloo Place, and I'll give you directions when you get up. However, you'll be next to turn, and what we're going to do is turn right, going across what's known as the North Bridge in October. Looking straight in front of you now, folks, now we can see the Register House. That was built by Robert Annans. The money for it coming from the forfeited Jacobite estates. After that, you must use what they call parish records.
Yeah, no.
Now we're going down to the bottom, and then we're going around to our right. So you want to follow that sort of white bus in front of us, Paul, hard right and into Waterloo. Now, folks, I'll be on the opposite side of the street from where we let you off. See where these bus stops are? Up there to your right. Well, stand at one of these, and you'll see the coach coming in for you at 4 o'clock. If you want to go back up to the old town, you walk back to the corner, turn to your left, and yourself. Okay, folks? I hope you